Now, after discussing about the different data types that can be used in Python programming, then only we can form an arithmetic expression. Therefore, we are going to discuss about numeric data types in this presentation. Now, what is a data? Data is nothing but an unorganized fact. What do you mean by organized fact and unorganized fact? Suppose if I say 30, 70, 60, these are some facts or it are unorganized data. Why it is, so whatever the number which I have told, that is only a number. It is not corresponding to any other real values. If I say physics mark is 70, chemistry mark is 75, mathematics mark is 100, then I have said these are facts. So this is this mark and this is corresponding to maths, physics, chemistry, like that. So if you arrange all the numbers according to certain facts or certain rules, then it is called as an organized fact. Normally, data is an unorganized fact. It may be a numeric data or alphabetic data or non-numeric data as far as computer processing are concerned. Now let us see numeric data in this slide. Then we can discuss about alphabetic and non-numeric data whenever the need comes. Numeric data consists of only numeric characters and special character dot. That is, we can use 0 to 9 as well as dot. Now, alphabetic data consists of only alphabetic characters only. That is, you can have 26 upper cases of English alphabets or lower case of those English alphabets, another 26. So if the data consists of only this kind of thing, then it is called as alphabetic data. Why we have to write like that? Why we have to use that? That we can see whenever the need comes. Next is non-numeric data. It consists of both numeric as well as alphabetic characters. So that means data can be classified into three types. One is called as numeric data type, another is non-numeric data, another one is alphabetic data. As far as Python programming is concerned, it supports numeric data type as well as sequence data type, dictionary, none, as well as sets. So there are 5 different types of data types that are used in Python programming. Now we are not going to see all the 5. We are going to discuss about numeric data type only now. Then whenever need comes, we will discuss about the other data types. Numeric data type. In the numeric data type itself, there are 4 different classifications. One is called as integer data, another one is called as long integer data, third one is floating numeric data, and the last one is complex numeric data. Now, what is the difference in all these things? So, integer data means we are going to have only numeric digits alone. We don't have any fractional part or the decimal part. So, that kind of data is called as integer data. In normal usage, there will be certain number of digits that we will be using, either 8 digit or 10 digit or 15 digit only. It may not exceed more than that. But in certain cases, we may have to store 36 digits or 100 digits or 120 digits depending on the need. So in that case, that kind of integer data is called as long integer data. So integer data itself is classified into normal integer, another one is long integer. And the third one is floating numeric data. That means this numeric data consists of decimal part as well as numerical part. So integer part will be there and also followed by a decimal point and then certain integer digits that represents the decimal digits. So that kind of data is called as floating numeric data. And the next one is called as complex numeric data. That is when you represent certain numbers using the real and imaginary part, then it is called as a complex numeric data. Suppose if I say 3 plus I4, so 3 is our integer part and 4 is the complex number. So the real part or the imaginary part. Therefore, we can have complex numeric data also that can be given in Python programming. But in this slide, we are going to discuss about the first three, and the last one, complex numeric data, can be discussed whenever the need comes. So integer constant, or it is also called as decimal constants. The rules that are to be followed in forming an integer constants are, first one is rule 1 is only numeric characters 0 to 9 alone are used to form a constant. And if there is a sign, it should precede the number. Suppose minus 756. So in that case, minus sign should precede the number. It should not follow the number, or it should not come in between. So if there is a sign, it should precede the number. So that is the second rule. And the third one is the maximum value of an integer constant can assume is 16 digits. You can have a 16-digit integer constant with all nines. So that is the maximum value. The minimum value of an integer constant can assume is 16 digits with all nines preceded by minus sign. So that is the minimum value. So that is the limit for an integer constant. Suppose there is a need in which the value of a particular variable goes beyond 16 digits, then it will automatically assume it as a long integer constant. We need not have to specify in the program that particular constant is a normal integer constant or long integer constant. The system itself or the program itself automatically consider it as a long integer constant if the value exceeds the 16 digits or it is less than the 16 digits. So in that case, it will automatically make it as a long integer constant. So except that there is no extra rule is not there for long integer constant. So example, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it is a integer constant. If it is a plus sign, plus 6, 7, 8, 9, minus 7, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, minus 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. So like that it is all are valid integer constants. So if it is, if you are putting the minus sign at the end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minus, then it is an invalid constant because the sign is followed by the number. Similarly, if I write 1, 2, 3 slash 4, 5, we are using a special character slash, so that is why it is also invalid constant. So we have to use these rules to form an integer constant. When it is exceeding in the maximum limit which is specified, then it will automatically treat it as long integer constant. So next data type is the floating numeric data. So it is also called as floating point constant. So it is called as floating point constant because the decimal point can be anywhere within the number. So that is, I am writing 12.345 or I can say 78.12453. So the number of decimal digit is not fixed. It can be any number. So that is why it is called as floating point, because the decimal point is placed anywhere within that number. So that is called as floating point constant. If the value consists of both integer and decimal part, then it is called as floating point constant. The floating point constants can be represented in two forms. Namely, one is in ordinary form and readable form, and another one is called as exponential form. We are going to discuss only about the ordinary form now, and the ordinary and readable form. The exponential form can be discussed as need arises. So to form a readable form floating point constants, we have to follow the following rules. That is, numeric characters 0 to 9 as well as dot alone are used to form a constant. If there is a sign, it should precede the number. Examples for valid floating point constant readable form 1234.567, 0.7689. Here there is no integer part, only decimal part alone is there. Similarly, plus 567.765. If I write 3456.0, then it is called as a floating point constant. Some invalid floating point constants are 1, 2, 3, 4 because it is integer constant. It is not a decimal constant, decimal floating point constant. Similarly, 456.78 or 788.9875. Here the sign is following the number, so that is why these two forms are invalid. Therefore, here we have discussed about the numeric constant as well as in the numeric constant we have seen about integer constant as well as floating point constants. So using this itself, we may be able to solve many problems. Only if there is some need, we have to go in for exponential form as far as floating point. As far as integer point is concerned, it will automatically take care of any number of digits. In that case, it becomes a long integer constant. Okay. So, having seen this, we can go in for formation of arithmetic expression and then start writing about simple problems. Then we will write some complex problems. While writing the complex problems, then the need for complex data or other types of data may come. During that time, we will discuss how that can be formed. Thank you.